So this is going to be a really difficult video because I'm in the car with 3 clowns who are trying to put me off to do this. But anyway, listen.
You can say that.
I can say that. You are a pair. You are a bunch of clowns.
It's a difficult video because I'm in 3 clowns.
Yeah, look.
But with 3 clowns.
So I've got Neil and George in the back, and then my other fat compadre, Ian, next to me.
Salute, greetings.
So we are now travelling back on the M25 after seeing Spurs finally pick up another 3 points, which is most gratifying. So, first question, and I'll ask Ian, what's the first question, right? How important was that 3 points today?
Oh, it's vital. You come into the mid-season break and it actually just basically gives us a chance to consolidate. None of the players have really played together much this year anyway, so no, it was vital. And we're up to mighty 7th position, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
George, what do you reckon? Was you expecting us to win today?
I wasn't actually. I was being very defeatist when I was on the way up, but I was just thinking about the last few weeks, thinking chances are this is going to be another terrible day out. But they needed the reaction. I'm glad we got the performance that we did. Without being totally stellar, I thought we were worth the 3 points. So yeah, I'm happy with the win, but I didn't think it was as plush as I like it to be anyway. So
Neil, question: what do you reckon? Do you reckon this is if we'd have lost today? Do you reckon that would have been under Nuno?
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, is that it? Is that all you're going to say?
Well,
yes.
yeah, but it's a hard thing to say. But then, who would we get in instead of? Who would replace him?
Exactly.
I think the 3 points was definitely a must for Nuno's sanity. But
you think
it was a good win.
If you think about what's available to him as well, it's probably the first time, midway through, sort of at this point in the season, where he's had a fairly full squad apart from Bergwijn to pick from. So, I'm happy that Dele was dropped because his performances over the last 3 or 4 weeks have been shocking. Yeah. And you had a bit more fluidity in the midfield, but I still don't think that Ndombele played as well as we know he can do. And I actually felt we were a lot more assured with Lo Celso coming on as well towards the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
Ndombele
was a worry today.
Bergwijn would have made a difference.
Yeah.
Or is Moura your guy?
I think Moura's got a bit more.
He's got a bit more room about him.
Yeah, I think that Bergwijn's a lot.
He's proven. I think Moura's proved himself a bit more. Hasn't he? He's had the opportunities to pull something out of the hat. So I think a lot of us believe in him more than we do with Bergwijn, because Bergwijn, we haven't really seen the best of him yet.
I think Moura's had to up his game because of Son was out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
but then Moura's been.
Before you go on about Moura, I just want to touch on Sonny today. Was he our main man today?
He was.
Yeah.
For me, I thought he was the only one really who showed that passion. At half time, I don't know if you watched it, but there was an interview with Mickey Hazard, and Mickey Hazard actually made a great point. And he said, if you go out there and you play with passion and you play with flair and you play with creativity and really go for it, if you lose, the Tottenham fans will still love you because they can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And for me, I thought Sonny did that today.
Yeah.
I know he did. He could have finished better than he has done, but overall, you could see that in him. Okay, so moving on, Eric Dyer gets a lot of stick, right? Especially from George's dad, apparently. I don't sit with him, but apparently he gets an awful lot of stick, and we know that, right? And he's not the greatest. But today, I thought he was all right. You think he was all right?
Yeah, if you actually look at that midfield, was actually the pairing today was good, wasn't it? It did seem to work quite well.
Romero, I thought played really, really well.
Yeah, but they
I'll come on to
trusted each other, didn't they?
Yeah, but I thought he made quite a few, important sort of interceptions in the game, and he played the ball. It was him who played the ball on for the second goal, right?
He'll put his head in anyway, won't he?
Yeah, I mean, he took one right in the face, didn't he?
Yeah.
So.
But he does do some good things, Eric Dyer. But this is my dad coming at me now. Like I was saying to you boys earlier on, I think he gives strikers too much of an opportunity to take it off them, and I think that's why with Dyer you're a bit unsure, because against good quality opposition they'll come in and nip it off his toes and they'll score a goal. And I actually think I haven't watched it back.
Is he a bit of a liability? Do you think he's a liability?
I think he's definitely a liability within your defence. Without him doing anything majorly wrong today, I think he could have done better for the goal. But again, I think there's a few players involved there. So,
But what about
overall? He was all right today.
What about Romero though? I thought he looked really assured today.
Yeah.
It's probably the best I've seen him play today.
Quality.
Yeah. You never had any sort of issues when the ball was coming towards him awkwardly. I mean, even those weird situations where you got to bash up the byline and turn quite in tight areas and stuff. He'd done everything 100% today. He was brilliant, I thought.
And Emerson, I thought Emerson had a good game today. I thought he seems to be settling in, and his link up along the right side there with Moura. I know we touched on Moura, but I thought that was working really well.
Yeah. Good link as
If
well.
the little battles he was having, was it Matty Target, wasn't it? And he was having a few battles there, and he gave as good as he got, and that's what it was about, really.
I think they're just trying to blood them in, aren't they? Once they sort of get into the Tottenham Hotspur way, they're going to be there and thereabouts, won't they?
Well, I think it was more spirited today, weren't it? Around the squad, I think you
felt a bit more.
You felt a bit more of an. But I think it's one of them games where against Villa, and it was very similar to how we played against Watford. You had a bit more of the ball, and you could have a bit more of a go at them. Whereas I think where you've seen it in the past against Chelsea, I mean, we were a very cagey game, but then you got outclassed second half. City game was a weird game because you didn't have any of the ball, but you just broke. Palace game was again cagey without being any. Well, I actually think Palace kept the ball quite well against you. But those sort of teams, when they come against you, I mean, I think we've looked worse off against those sort of teams this year.
Well, I thought Villa started off really well. I thought they pressed quite high at the start of the game, and I thought, oh, here we go, we're going to be under pressure the whole way. And our passing out was really slow and sloppy.
But the first minute we didn't get we had a kick off, did we?
Yeah.
Exactly. We didn't get out of the first half for the first minute.
After 15 minutes, I was there going, oh, you can't tell who's the home team.
Yeah.
We really didn't look like the home team at all.
No, I was a bit disappointed at the start of the game, but we did grow into it. And like I say, I think Sonny gave us a bit more passion. He kind of pushed it at Moura. I mean, there was a point, I don't know whether you noticed it, but there was a point in the game where all the players had their arms out as if to say, what's going on? Who's doing what? Did you see that?
I saw it a lot in the second half actually. I think it's more frustration going forward for a lot of the front men because it's like Sonny and Kane and Moura were sort of making runs in a bit, like sort of diving between defenders. Yeah. And I think Ndombele, Skip and Højbjerg were sort of dwelling on the ball a little bit, and there were a lot of good runs that were happening, but I think the front men were getting a lot more frustrated. Yeah.
What about Højbjerg's goal though? He took that really well, didn't he? I thought that chance had gone.
He knew exactly what he was doing there.
Yeah, he picked that corner out and put it straight in. It was a great goal.
That was Breeves, that one.
Yeah, it was a lovely goal. Like I say, I thought the chance had gone. By the time it got to it, I thought, that's too late. He's messed it up now.
Yeah.
But to see it pass straight into the corner, that I thought taken really well, and it seemed to mean something for him as well. He really celebrated it, which was good to see. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, so just touching on the referee, who I thought had a particularly poor game today. What do you think, Ian? What's your views?
Not impressed at all. I couldn't understand. There were points where booking should have been given out. You're there thinking, oh, that's a bit harsh. It was quite cynical. A lot of the fouls that were actually in there, and then they actually give the bookings for really soft challenges. I couldn't understand it at all.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was surprised at how physical Villa were. Some of their cutting players off and that. I thought that was a
they left the foot in quite a lot.
Which you don't normally associate that with Villa, do you?
It's strange because I think referees are doing this weird thing this season where they're trying to make it obvious that they're letting the game flow, but then they'll blow up for the most ridiculous things, and it's almost as if they're sort of faltering in and out of habits and stuff like that. But I don't know. The referee today, I mean, there was some things that were stone wall that you think he has to blow up there, and he hasn't.
Well, there was a two-footed one in the first half where he dived in and he did nothing, didn't even stop the play. Yeah, I was totally shocked with that, and I thought that's kind of set the tone. But they kind of got away with a little bit more. I thought the ref could have been, like I say, could have been stronger on some, like you say. But then some of the others that he let go, I thought were nothing. So.
Well, when there's that challenge with Emerson, and who was it? Was it Target that he was on?
Yeah.
When they're having a spat with, and Target took him out completely, and the only saving grace was that actually allowed Emerson to do exactly the same thing back with him about 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Well, both of them were naughty, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just before we were talking about Oliver Skip. So you say he kind of doesn't really get the recognition, but puts in a really good shift.
Yeah. That's what you need now.
That's the sort of role, isn't it?
You've had too many people going missing in that midfield, but I think one thing that's always present with Ollie Skip is that he's always getting about, buzzing around, making some tackles and playing the 5-yard, 10-yard passes. That's what you need him in there for, someone to tidy up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can go and let your more senior players go and, play the more quality stuff like and that's what we need more of from Ndombele, Lo Celso, Højbjerg, whatever.
Yeah, so let's just touch on Ndombele, right? Because when we were in the ground, we were talking to Adrian, and Adrian was like, he thought Ndombele had a really good game, one of his better games.
Right,
And yet,
okay.
to my mind, I thought he was good in patches, but then he went missing so much, and some of his passing I thought was quite sloppy.
My dad was
What do you think?
My dad was saying to me, he's playing everything too safe, and he was playing, rather than playing more like a 10 and be the quality that you need him to be in the he wasn't. He was playing more like a 6, and he was doing the 5-yard passes. He was scared to sort of, I mean, we saw flashes of his brilliance like we usually do, but a lot of it was he wasn't committing the midfielder that was marking him. Like Douglas Luiz, he was right on his toes, and he wasn't pulling away from him. He wasn't grabbing the space, and he wasn't being that player that you need him to come and take charge
For me,
of the ball going forward.
he ducks out too much and kind of,
He's a coward,
Yeah,
isn't he,
he
really?
don't sort of get his foot right in and win the ball. And that. Oh, the other game when he scored that goal and he just, he went in and kept going.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see from him.
Yeah,
Today, I didn't think there was any of that. I say, I talking to Adrian, and he was like, "Oh no, he had a good game." I was actually quite pleased to see him go and when Lo Celso come on. I thought we looked a bit better.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's what you need from Ndombele though. You need that, that level of quality and intensity throughout the whole game, and he just doesn't give you it. But when Lo Celso came on, I felt we were a bit more tidier. I felt like Kane.
We were certainly more
Kane got a lot more
penetrative.
into the game when Lo Celso came on as well.
100%, yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay, so just before we finish, I just want to touch on Dele Alli. I've got to be honest. To my mind, I think he's done. I think he's done at Tottenham. I can't see any way back from him. Personally, I think he's not kicked on. I don't think he's finished as a player. I think he's got a lot to offer, but I just don't think it's going to happen for him at Tottenham.
Yeah.
No. What's your views on that?
Agree completely. I think he's actually he's been a victim of his own circumstance because he's still actually quite a young player, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I'd actually like to see him go somewhere and get the recognition he deserves. And I actually personally I wouldn't mind having somebody like James Maddison as a replacement for him.
Right.
But we need somebody who's going to help to provide the link-up
Did
play.
we go for Madison in the summer? Last summer?
No, I don't think we did we?
well, that's the thing. I think
Right,
with
is that
Delhi
true?
though, is I was saying, I said it. I think I said it briefly after Chelsea. And I said it on the way up as well. Like when Delhi was on top form, he was playing further up the pitch. He had quality players like Ericsson and Dembele and Wanyama. He had that solid foundation behind him where he could go and sort of float around up there off Kane, make the runs. But he ain't got that stability anymore to the point where he's now having to do this box-to-box role. It's not
And it's not him, is it?
It's not him.
It's not him.
No.
It's not him. It's not
And he's
going
a
to happen.
confidence player as well. So when he's scoring goals and setting up goals and stuff, he does it like week in, week out, and it's more of a wheels in motion sort of thing. Whereas right now it's very sporadic. He'll score the odd penalty, he runs hard, and that's about what he does for you.
But I could see him at a
Because
club
they
like
went
Villa.
back, so he's
Well, I personally, I wouldn't want to see him at another Premier League club. I'd like to see him go abroad, and I think he'd be far better suited to somewhere like Spain or somewhere like that, where he
I
gets
can see him somewhere like Italy, to be fair.
Yeah.
The
so
game is slower, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll call it there. That's the end of that. So Tottenham win 2-1. We're all happy chappies. We're going to stop at Fleet and have some noodles.
Noodles!
Yeah. So we'll leave it there. Up the Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs!
Vietnamese noodle.